So this is what life is like in China, and it's really great looking at it. And everyone's working hard. The drones are working hard, helping people, delivering food and saving people and stuff. So technology is there to really help the population. So I just wanted to share that with you. I think it's really, really cool. So let's talk about Trump here. This picture is so funny. This picture, you see Trump playing golf, and there's a anti-aircraft gun right next to him. And I think it's just the funniest picture I've ever seen. And there's a really funny story about President Trump.
Donald
He
Trump
had
was
some
reportedly smuggled off Air Force One in a catering
intelligence
truck last
saying
month,
that
in a
his
dramatic
Air Force
security
One or Air
ruse
Force
designed
Two
to
is going to
protect
be
him from
shot
a
down.
potential Iranian assassination attempt. The
So what he
deception
did
operation
was
took
he
place as the
hid
president was
in
flying back
that
from a NATO
little
summit
cart.
off Air
Can,
Force
can you
One in a
see?
catering truck
Can you see
last
that
month.
little cart in the red? He hid in there. It's so funny. He hid in there, and then that got transferred to some other.
In a dramatic security
Can you see this little transport thing? And he went to Turkey apparently, and there was huge intelligence saying that Iran is gonna kill him or something like that, which is obviously hilarious to even think about it. And he hid in that cart, and that took him to that vehicle, and that vehicle took him to another plane, and he escaped back to America using this small plane. The funny thing is, despite the threats to his life, he left everybody on the plane as they were. He didn't tell anyone on the plane. It was a secret. So he left everyone on the plane to basically die. It's so funny. So he escaped to a smaller plane after getting the intelligence, and everyone else on the plane basically sat there to die, just in case that intelligence was true, which it wasn't, by the way. So it just shows the selfish nature of President Trump here. He's the one that escaped. He didn't tell anyone else, and everyone else was left to deal with it. So let's talk about the intelligence, by the way. So first of all, Iran has got nothing to prove by killing Trump. Nothing. I mean, they have no reason to do it. Because the problem is, if they kill off Trump, right, there's going to be a huge, you know, amounts of people in America is going to be extremely angry. A lot of MAGA supporters will be extremely angry. Media is going to be angry. And all the neocons will be asking for blood. Similar to 9/11, they would have been asking for, invading Iran. They're going to be asking for nuking Iran. So they're going to be, going absolutely crazy, asking for blood, basically. And that would probably give them an excuse to go in and invade Iran, or even nuke it, for example. So there's no reason for Iran to want that. Iran wants peace. They don't want to escalate the war, not to this extent. Yeah, blowing off a few military bases is one thing, but killing off the president is another. I know United States has killed off the Iranian leader. However, United States still got escalation dominance. They have all the nuclear weapons. They have still, huge amounts of money they can put towards the defense, and if the need comes, they can basically come together and escalate things if the people want it in America. And right now, people don't want this war in America. A lot of people are against it. But killing Trump, that might change things. And I don't think Iran would take that risk. The only people that want Trump dead at the moment is Israel. It's in Israel's benefit for America to go into a war with Iran. They want America to fight Iranians till the last American. They want American soldiers and money to be wasted in the Middle East fighting Israeli wars. So Trump dying can only benefit Israel. Because if you look at history, 9/11 has benefited Israel because America had gone in and destroyed all of Israel's enemies, all except one, that is Iran. They've gone in and got rid of Saddam, they got rid of Gaddafi, they got rid of Assad. All the enemies in the region of Israel, they got rid of them after 9/11. So if Israel benefited from 9/11, who actually organized 9/11? Just think about it. We know that Israel is the world leader in false flags. They have been doing false flags throughout their history. And do you expect a bunch of mountain herds, these Talibans, do you really expect the Taliban to somehow go into America and fly planes into the Twin Towers and the Pentagon and things like that? Just doesn't make any sense. If they did do it, they had a lot of help from the CIA, from Israel. And I can't believe this story hasn't been released yet. Why are they keeping a secret? They're keeping a secret because Israel pretty much controls everything. They control the information. The same people keeping that a secret, same people keeping secrets about the EP files, for example. You know what I mean by the EP files. And so it only benefits Israel, basically. So Israel would be the only country that would benefit from getting rid of Trump, not Iran. And this intelligence, I don't know who's been giving this intelligence to Donald Trump. I don't know why he can't just put two and two together. And obviously Israel wants to get rid of him because look what Donald Trump is doing right now. He's not sure what the hell is going on. One minute he wants to destroy the civilization. Next minute he wants peace and there's negotiations. And right now America wants out. They don't want to deal with Iran anymore. It's too expensive for them and nobody wants war in America. So he wants out. It's the Israelis that want America to go back in to Iran. So if there's anybody that Donald Trump should be scared of, it's the Israelis. There's also a really sad story about United States, and I can't say the word on YouTube, by the way, but I'll highlight it for you. It's basically people jumping off and unaliving themselves. And there seems to be a real jump in this rate in the United States, and especially from the USS Lincoln. And the USS Lincoln has been in sea for almost a year now, and a lot of these crew members have been on sea, trying to fight Iran and doing the blockades and things like that. And normally these soldiers or the Navy, they get parked into a port and they get replaced. And they do that because, being out in the sea for so long affects your mental health. Because you're away from land, you're away from your loved ones. And a lot of them are going crazy in the USS Lincoln. And they're just jumping off the decks. I think 6 people tried to jump off the decks just this week. They didn't die, by the way, because they got saved. But the fact that they tried it. And Yeah, people are just going crazy fighting this war for Trump. The soldiers don't want it. The Navy don't want it. The generals don't want it. So this is only Trump's war fighting for Israel. And there seems to be a real high rate of these people just jumping off and unaliving themselves. I'm also hearing stories about how the US Army and the servicemen are being forced to be given the mRNA vaccine as well. All of them were given the COVID vaccine. They were all forced to do it. And now they're being forced to be taking the mRNA vaccine. God knows what the side effects are going to be. But it can't be good. I'm talking about people jumping off the decks. In South Korea, it's even worse. South Korea is the #1 country for people unaliving themselves. #1 country. It is so stressful living in South Korea. I lived in South Korea, guys, and people were working extremely hard. Extremely hard. It's like you cannot believe how hard they work in Korea. And I worked in an office, and they were in the office around 6, 7 a.m. and they used to work till 9, 10 o'clock at night. And then they used to go to the bars and drink soju. They used to work hard and drink harder. And the next morning they wake up extra early and go to work again. And a lot of them have side jobs, and many of them do trading. I think in South Korea it's got the highest number of people that do trading. I think 20% of South Koreans are involved in the trading market. So what's happened is there's been a recent South Korean crash of the markets. Markets crashed for the last couple of weeks because of the high oil prices. Companies are going bankrupt. People are losing jobs. And because of that, people are losing their life savings on trading. I think last week or the week before, 6% of the population got margin calls. If you know what margin call is, basically you lost all your money on a trade, and you get a call saying, give us more money or you lose all your money, basically. So many people are losing their life savings in South Korea, and because of that, they are unaliving themselves. It's an extremely stressful country to be in. I mean, South Korea is not as rich as it once was. There was a time when South Korea and Japan were leading in the technology sector. Samsung was pretty much leading. All these other South Korean companies were doing great, like LG, and the cars were doing great, like Hyundai and Kia. But then came China, and China has pretty much taken over the whole industry from South Korea. They have taken over shipbuilding. Shipbuilding used to be a major South Korean industry. China's taken over the semiconductor industry as well, the memory industry. They've taken over the car industry. Obviously, they've taken over the TVs. All the electrical goods that used to come from South Korea now coming from China. So South Korea is doing very badly economically because of the extra competition that China's bringing. And because of that, a lot of people are losing their jobs, their livelihoods, they're going into trading, and once the market crashed, that's it, it's game over for so many people in South Korea. It's a shame, really. It's a real shame because, yeah, the people just, they're extremely, it's a strange society, South Korea. Every person in South Korea seems to be very religious. They're all churchgoers. They all go to church every Sundays. And all the church have been infiltrated by ZIOs. All of them. And they all like every Sunday. I used to date a girl in South Korea and she used to take me to church. And they all go to church Sundays, they all preach. And the pastor used to basically give all these lectures and pro-Zio stuff. It was crazy, guys. It was absolutely crazy. And pretty much everyone is brainwashed in South Korea. Everyone. It's a really sad society. And especially when the market crashes and people are losing their livelihoods, they got nowhere else to go and they end up doing themselves. And one of the reasons why, the birth rate is so small is because everyone is just so damn working hard. Nobody's got time for anyone. That's the main reason. Everyone's just working hard. All the men are working hard. All the women are working hard. Nobody's got time to date or go out or do stuff together. Build up your love, relationship, have children. No one's got time for that. It's such a difficult country to live in because cost of living is so high. Rents are very high. Everything's expensive. But you can say that about the rest of the world as well, the rest of the Western world. But I think South Korea is pretty extreme. Because they used to be a very rich country at one point. People were doing well. People were making money. But it's not like that anymore. Talking of Trump, he calls the Iranian negotiators devious and dishonest. He says he doesn't trust them. They always lie. And they never stick to their promises. That's what Trump says about the Iranian negotiators. Has he looked at himself at the mirror lately? Because it was Trump that tore up the JCPOA. And I bet right now he wishes he didn't. He would have avoided all of these issues, all of them. But he tore up the JCPOA because his backers from Israel wanted him to. People like Tom Shelton, who I believe passed away recently. That's the husband of Miriam Adelson. They have been pumping hundreds of millions into Trump in his first term and second term. And they have been pushing Israeli agenda. So what did he do in this first term? He pulled out of the JCPOA. He killed Hussein Soleimani. He gave Golan Heights to Israel, which is Syrian territory, according to the UN. He opened an embassy in Jerusalem. He did many things which were pro-Israel. He pushed for, to get rid of Assad in Syria. Many things he did in his first term. And in his second term, it's even worse. They pushed for a war against Iran. So you cannot trust Donald Trump here. He wakes up one day and he changes his mind. He is unstable. And he had an MOU signed. All he had to do was walk away. That's all he had to do. But no, apparently he didn't understand the MOU or something. And he started sending American ships through the strait. He thought he was completely free. And then when Iran found out, they obviously gave warnings and they didn't listen to the warnings and they got bombed. And what did Trump do? He started the war again, started bombing Iranian ports and cities, towns. And he escalated. All because of Trump didn't understand the MOU. To the outside world, it's Trump who is deceitful and dishonest. He's never said an honest thing in his life. From his second term, everything he's done is just a lie. Every word that comes out of his mouth has been a lie. All these tariffs wars against his allies. He was saying tariffs are paid by the countries, which is a complete lie. He said he would give $2,000 checks to the American people. He said tariffs are making trillions. He said the sanctions on China will collapse his economy. He said millions of Russians are dying in the war with Ukraine. He said Ukraine is winning. He said Iran killed 50,000 people of his own people with 4 snipers in a couple of hours. Ridiculous lies. He's just never told the truth, and he's just accusing Iran of lying. Unbelievable. So the former head of Mossad has been appointed the head of the US defense company. If you guys remember that Israel and the US are now joined at the hip because they agreed for Israel and United States armies and militaries and intelligence to join. So now you're going to get Mossad agents and bosses running the US military and defense agencies and defense tech companies. What could possibly go wrong? Seriously, what could possibly go wrong? I'm telling you, the Americans that think that Gaza is only for Palestinians and they are only going to do to Palestinians in Gaza. I'm telling you, once they take over the defense companies and agencies, everything, they will come after the Americans. Because I'll tell you what's gonna happen, guys. The economy is not doing very well at the moment. There's a huge bubble waiting to be burst. People are not using the dollars as much. People are not using US treasuries. The treasury market will burst pretty soon. The dollar will crash. Businesses will go bankrupt. And what you're going to have in America, you're going to have bedlam, mayhem, riots. Because inflation is going to go sky high. You can't afford just basic necessities to stay alive. So you're going to have people on the streets rioting. So what are these Israeli companies going to do? They're going to do what they did to Gaza. They will use Palantir and Claude and all these drones to identify people and blow them up in their homes with their families. Or worse, they will do to Gaza one day. Believe me. It will come sooner rather than later. So let's talk about Argentina. Remember when Donald Trump and Elon Musk were bigging up Argentina, saying, the leader Milei, he's going to bring Argentina to prosperity. That's what Elon Musk said. That's what Trump said. He was their guy. Well, look what he's done. He's turned the pesos, Argentinian pesos, into dust. It's worthless. It's gone to zero. Nobody wants the Argentinian peso anymore. That guy is so corrupt. He sold all of Argentina's assets to the West and Israel. Every single one. He's given Israel's parts of the Argentinian land. Now Israel is building up that land and putting loads of their own people in there. He has sold every part of Argentina, guys. And the Argentinian people voted for him. What's wrong with you South Americans? I mean, have the Americans, North Americans brainwashed you to such an extent that you have to vote for American puppets to sell all of your assets and destroy your country? Is that what you wanted? Is that what you voted for? How brainwashed are the South Americans, especially the Argentinians? And it's not just the Argentinians, guys. It's the Venezuelans as well, and recently the Colombians. I mean, you can tell why they got rid of Maduro. Look what Venezuela has done. They're now recognizing Israel. So I believe Israel probably told Donald Trump to do this. And why are the Venezuelan people allowing Trump to steal their oil? Trump is literally bragging that he stole 13 billion worth of oil from Venezuela. Stole it. The people of Venezuela need that money, especially after a recent earthquake. There's also been an earthquake in Colombia as well. And again, America's not going to help you. The people in South America need to stand up for themselves and get rid of these colonialists. They might not be invading your country, but if they can control your government and your president or your prime minister, then there's no need for invasion. They will just sell all of your treasures and assets. Like millions given away all the gold in Argentina, sold all the assets. Now Venezuela is going to do the same, and America's just going to steal it all. The people in Venezuela are not going to get anything. What are people of South America going to learn? North America is not your friend. They just want your resources. And they want to keep you poor. And if the South American countries stand up for themselves, they, like they did in Nicaragua, that they did this in Venezuela not long ago with Hugo Chavez. These people want to get away from the US grip. And the US makes them into villains. Because they don't want to lose control. So they make them into villains, they start wars, they give them sanctions. They're doing that to Cuba right now. Unbelievable, guys, unbelievable. Anyway, I'll end it there. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care for now.